So we're going to start off here with, before we get into the presentations, the official presentations, with an incredible panel. I mean, it takes a lot of courage to come up here and talk about their experience, but to share what they've gone through, they thought they could help others. So one of the things I'd like to do is ask a couple of questions to our panel. I'd like you, all three of you, please, to introduce yourself and how and when, or your family member, were diagnosed, and the treatments you have undergone or currently on, or if one of your family members, what their experience was as well. So we'll start from my far left.
My name is Melani Vincelli. I was honored to meet Debbie on the Dr. Oz show in 2012. I was diagnosed in 2009 at the age of 49 years old with stage 4 stomach cancer. I was given 6 to 9 months to live 8 years ago. I underwent 6 rounds of chemotherapy. I was extremely lucky. The chemo worked. And unheard of at that time, I was given the option to have a total gastrectomy. I jumped on it. I had my total gastrectomy December 7th, Pearl Harbor Day of 2009, and I've never looked back. I have been cancer-free ever since.
Oh, that's fabulous.
There you go.
Fabulous. Thank you. Thank you for that.
I'm Sally Mandel. I was diagnosed in February of 2014. I first discovered I was having some symptoms at the end of August 2013, and it took a little while for me to really get it together and see the doctor. And I had they found it with a colonoscopy and an endoscopy, and right away they suggested to me that it had already spread to my colon. So I ended up being hospitalized after that colonoscopy because I was in quite a bit of pain because I think they poked around an awful lot. But I was told by the surgeon that it was inoperable, and he was very sorry. And then he started giving me a lot of directions about how to get medical marijuana in Bayonne, New Jersey. It was just very bizarre, and I was stuck at hearing this stage 4 thing. So we found some alternative places to go for treatment, and I've been treated at Memorial Sloan Kettering since then.
Wonderful.
And my name is Keisha Berry. I was caregiver of my father, who was diagnosed in September 2012. And we lost him last November to stage 4 stomach cancer. And as a caregiver, and when we heard about it, we just went to prayer. He was only diagnosed, they told him he only had 3 to 6 months to live. And at that point, I was like, nope, that's not the answer of what God called us for. So with his 2 amazing doctors that he had, he lasted 3.5 years from what the diagnosis was. So for me and my mom as caregivers, being supportive, listening to him, being there for whatever it is that he needed, not what we wanted, but what he needed, was the most important thing. So as a family member, just show unconditional love, be there, listen, talk, and just have great memories, because it's that important for them to keep moving. Because when they go to the doctor, you hear this is what happened, or we have to do this, they're down. But when you know God and you have faith and you have hope and you are going to believe that all things are possible, you will end this and be a survivor. And if you do pass, your loved ones will know that you fought a good fight.
Wonderful. Thank you, Keisha. Wonderful. Wonderful. I'm going to throw in a question in here because I think it's really important. How were you diagnosed? Like what symptoms were you having?
When I first exhibited symptoms, it felt like my bra was too tight. I had a pressure underneath my breastbone. And I remember saying to my husband, if I go to the doctor and tell him that I feel like my bra is too tight, he's going to tell me to buy a bigger bra. As it turns out, as a woman, we have a tendency to put everybody else's health needs first. And I had a very stressful job. My husband owned his own business. It's 2009. The recession is hitting. I had a tendency to put myself last with my bra that was too tight. So I started to exhibit symptoms in January of 2009, but I was not diagnosed until July of 2009. I had lost 30 pounds, and I went to my family doctor, and he said, when were you going to come see me? And I said, well, really, I was going to come and see you after I lost 50 pounds, just in case you could reverse the effects of what was going on, and I wanted to be thinner. So by the time they diagnosed my cancer, 3/4 of my stomach was tumor, and it had hit my liver and my lungs.
Wow.
So mine was big enough that when they did the endoscope, they saw it.
Wow. Wow. Thank you for that, for sharing that.
My symptoms were early satiation after eating, random sort of bouts of nausea. I lost 30 pounds, but then again, like you, I was kind of pleased that that had happened. I just dropped off my younger daughter at college, and, so I was starting that second phase of your life with the kids out of the house, and I thought that was all pretty good. But then when I started feeling sick when I was going around the grocery store, there was, definitely realized there was something wrong.
And for my dad, he was actually working that day and driving a truck, being his jolly self. And at the end of the day, he pulled in, and his boss was like, you don't look good, Mr. Berry. And he was like, yeah, I don't feel well, because my dad is just who he is. He's going to work out. He's going to do everything up under the sun. And they said, I think you need to go to the hospital. He was like, okay. So they provided the transportation for him because he was that weak. And then that's when we found out, because I've seen him prior, and we went out to eat and looked great, but he had gained weight, but we thought that was normal because we were eating Max's hot dogs. Not supposed to, but that's what we were doing. And that's how we found out.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that experience. It's important to know what the symptoms are in stomach cancer, because as you can see, it might take a while before it's diagnosed. So that's why I wanted to throw out that question. The next question I want to throw out to our panel is, what would you say was the greatest challenge that you faced as either a patient or a caregiver?
I am the Debbie's Dream Foundation New Jersey Southern Chapter president. And the reason why Debbie and I bonded on the Dr. Oz show was because there's no one to talk to about this. If you're a woman, breast cancer is the first thing everybody thinks of. As soon as I say I had cancer, it's breast cancer. Stomach cancer is so not prevalent. To have cancer alone is horrible, but then to have what they consider an orphan disease is even worse. I'll never forget at the Dr. Oz show, there was 4 women on that show, and we all had stomach cancer. And when they came into the green room to get us, they were hysterical laughing because we couldn't stop talking to each other. To find a survivor, to find a fellow woman around the same age as you that had survived this disease, I didn't have a me to speak to when I was going through this. This is all I do now. I stopped working 7 years ago. And through Debbie's organization, I provide hope to other people. This is why I feel I survived. If any of you are suffering from the disease, if you're a caregiver, I'm here. 8 years later, 6 to 9 months to live. You have to keep fighting. You have to keep searching. And Debbie's Dream Foundation's community is like none other. You have to come to Advocacy Day in DC. It's like family. It's people that understand what you've gone through. I truly, truly believe that Debbie has given me the reason why I survived this disease, and that's why I'm here today. So please, take her up with the website is phenomenal. I tell people to go there constantly. If you have anybody that ever wants to talk to me, I will give you my card. Just hearing that someone else survived this disease provides so much inspiration, and that's what I'm here to do.
I think I haven't really crossed my biggest challenge with this disease off the list. Unfortunately, my cancer is hereditary, and one of my daughters also has the disease and will ultimately end up having a total gastrectomy. And, obviously that worries me that I won't be there to help her through that. And I'd consider that the biggest difficulty.
As a caregiver, I won't say it's a challenge. I'll say it's a blessing, because when you are going through this, you're building stronger network with people to be able to encourage them throughout. Most of ours was all about our faith, and that is a very important factor for us. That's what kept us going, and that's what still keeps us going. On days that you want to cry, but you know that, you can. It's okay, but being here, being connected to Debbie's foundation gives others hope that you have a family now. And we will, especially myself, you're in my prayers. I'm glad that I can be, a support factor, a phone call, just to laugh, talk, just to listen. So, feel free. I'm glad that, we're doing this today. So thank you, Debbie, for, just starting this and just having the love to embrace others.
Thank you. And one last question. What is the best tip you can give to others who are facing this illness? Just like in a short, what tip can you give them? And the next question is, what is your involvement in the Debbie's Dream Foundation?
The best tip I could give is I was the subject of many tumor board discussions. Get your file out in front of as many doctors, network with as many people as you possibly can, because you never know where that new treatment is going to come from. I literally had my stomach in and out of me 7 times within a week. One day they'd call up, you're taking it out, you're not taking it out. It also has to be with what you're comfortable with. You have to be comfortable in your treatment. You have to be comfortable with your doctors. I've been very blessed all the way along that everything just really worked out very well. As for my involvement, anything I can do for this foundation, I will do. To have a place to go, to talk to other people. I have people contacting me constantly, and that's what I want. To be able to go through this with a helping hand. When I was first diagnosed, I had no one to talk to, and I had my stomach totally removed. Unheard of. I could have had 3 heads. The only people I could even bond with were people that had had gastric bypass surgery, because they kind of experienced what I go through with no stomach. To have this group of people that stand behind you is absolutely wonderful. And I am the Southern Chapter president and founder of New Jersey. But now I've become the liaison for stomach cancer in my state, which is absolutely fine with me. Word of mouth, I heard through a friend, family members. Everybody ends up coming to me. I met Keisha. It's a group of networking, and that's the way you have to get your story out, and you have to depend on the experience of other people as well.
Yeah, I would try and say become as informed about the disease as you can, and obviously Debbie's Dream is a wonderful resource for that. But there's also an awful lot of information on the internet about stomach cancer now. I know when my father passed away from it in 1978, I just can't imagine what it must have been like for my mother then, who probably didn't know anybody else with stomach cancer and had no information about it. And we found out the day before he passed that it was cancer as kids. And things are just done very differently these days, and I'm, grateful that there is so much information out there. I've been through all sorts of treatments at this point, a couple of clinical trials. Right now I'm on a targeted therapy. I've had immunotherapy, and I wouldn't have been aware of all of those things if I hadn't been at a sophisticated hospital in Manhattan, probably. And I feel very fortunate that I live pretty close and was able to do that. But information is out there, and it's worth traveling to find the best results, because oftentimes you may not get a second go around at it. You want to start on the best drug for you and the one that's most specific for your tumor, and stay on it as long as you possibly can if you can tolerate the side effects. And I've been fortunate with that too, that I have tolerated most of the side effects, even if the drug treatment didn't necessarily prevent progression as long as it might have done. I have had very few side effects throughout treatment. So.
I would say just have the faith, believe, build your relationships with Debbie's Foundation, because it's a great resource for you. We're all here, and my participation is tomorrow's event, the New York Laughter. So I hope that you'll all buy your tickets or call people, because we would love to see you tomorrow to support it, because there's a lot of work that we will be doing for 2017 already. So we look forward to your participation.
Thank you so much. And, I want to thank the panel here. I want to thank you so much for your courage, and also for putting yourself out there to help other patients and getting involved with not only with Debbie's Dream Foundation organization, but with all the patients that are out there who call you to speak to you, and you become an advocate for this disease and for other patients out there. So thank you so much for that. Thank you. Let's give a round of applause. Thank you.